Take three. Oh man. So, what's up, y'all? What's up? What's up? What's up? Good day, good morning, afternoon, top of the morning, top of the day, whatever time you're watching and listening to this. Um, Man, it's a great day. It's a great day. So there's been some misunderstanding, which is the usual for a lot of my posts, about depression is the gate to happiness. First of all, I want to say that I am an extremely optimistic person. I don't like to focus on the negative, even though I will focus on the negative, but I focus on the negative in or with the hopes of finding something good to come out of it. If that makes sense. Like I'll look at something negative and I'll try to find a way to um, make it better so that it'll become a positive. Because being pessimistic or extremely negative honestly lowers your energy, lowers your vibration, and can actually make you more depressed, especially if you're already a naturally depressed person. Like myself, I have to fight through depression quite often. Quite often. So, I'm saying that to say, when I made the post, I was in the midst of a depressive state in mind, just going through a lot of different thoughts. Life has been crazy, there's been a lot of crazy changes. Um, Within the last year, actually. And there's been even more within the last month and a half, 2 months. Um, and especially the last month, a lot of changes that I was not expecting. And as a result, it actually put me mentally in a not just a depressive state, but a state of hopelessness. Was is actually hopelessness is actually a byproduct of depression. Um, So for the past month, I've been trying to crawl myself out of that and obtain some type of hope. And I just found some new information yesterday. So throughout the day, it's just kind of bothering me. And I began to think about it more and more. And then even when I didn't want to think about it, I was thinking about it. So it just made me even more depressed. So when I wrote the post, I was depressed and then I began to think like I always do, because I don't like staying in those types of states for long because I know the result of them. They can drive you nuts. They can actually bring you to a place of suicide if you're not careful. Um, and I never, ever will say it's easy. Never say it was easy. Actually, when I was younger, I was on depression medicine for quite a few years because of it. And but what I have learned that is helpful for myself is trying to find the positive. So when I say depression is the gate to happiness, um, happiness is actually the opposite of depression. Happiness is a state of being happy, and usually when you're depressed, you're not happy, or you have spells where you're happy, but then it just kind of like disappear quickly. So when I was saying that, I was thinking about um, what is depression? Depression is grief and hopelessness, sadness, prolonged sadness. It can bring about levels of insecurity. Um, but what I have learned when I get to these extremely low states is that I don't have to stay there. I don't have to stay there. A lot of people will probably disagree with me when I say that. But what I've learned on how I'm managing it and overcoming it is that the longer I allow myself to feel like I'm worthless, the longer I allow myself to think about my current state and situation, the more depressed I get. So it really becomes the gate to my happiness because I'm trying to think of how to explain this. I think about it in my head, but then I'm trying to put it out. Um, all right, I had to stop and think about this. I'm just gonna be real uncut, and raw. The moments I get into my lowest depression, those are the moments that something is on the horizon. Now, this could just because of my spiritual take. Could just because of my faith and believing what God is gonna do in my life, or this could just be because it's me. So I've been naturally depressed, but then I get in stages where I'm extremely depressed. And when I get into those stages of being extremely depressed, there's always something that's about to happen, that's about to change. So when I say depression is the gate to happiness, that for me means that when I'm depressed and I'm in my lowest state, at those moments, I have to combat it with not just positive thinking, but with a mind of gratefulness. Um, every time we think about giving up, every time we think about this can't get any worse, sometimes it does, and many times it does actually. But we always use the analogy of it has to get bad before it gets better. So when I get to the extreme states of depression, at those moments, it's about to elevate. It's about to elevate. Because usually in those moments of depression, I don't feel like doing anything. I don't feel like elevating. I don't feel like going to work out. I don't feel like reading. I don't feel like eating. I can barely sleep. But if I recognize the signs of that and I acknowledge those signs, at those moments, I can now bring myself into a place of happiness. Because it's usually what happens, at least from my experience, that the moment I realize I'm depressed, I can now change it. A lot of times we don't really know that we're depressed. A lot of times we don't realize that our insecurities are actually a sense of worthlessness. We don't realize that we don't believe we can have anything. Lacking hope is actually a symptom of depression. We don't realize that consistent grief of missing something or losing something or someone passing is actually a symptom of depression. We don't realize that not wanting to do anything and not eating and not getting sleep is actually a symptom of depression. And and a lot of times we realize those things late. But if we understand and know what the symptoms of depression is, then at those moments we can now implement something that will change our atmosphere and our mentality. So when I say depression is the gate to happiness, me recognizing my depression, me understanding that I'm depressed, me being depressed is actually my motivation to excel and conquer those symptoms that I'm facing. Um, a symptom of depression is actually lacking serotonin. And so if we don't find moments to laugh, if we don't find humor and in life. That's why you see me laughing a lot on Facebook. I don't take Facebook that serious. I enjoy encouraging people. I get a lot of messages from people saying how much I've helped them. But when I get trolls and I get people who don't understand, I laugh those things off because laughter brings about serotonin. Serotonin actually elevates the mind to get you out of those states of depression. That's why laughter is actually better than a medicine. Find reasons to laugh. So when I say depression is the gate to happiness, it's really my mentality. It's the way that I look at depression. It's the way that I think about depression. Because at the moment I realize I'm depressed is the moments that now I can change my atmosphere. I can change my situation. I can find ways to change whatever is taking place in my mind. Therefore, it will bring me to a place of happiness. Now, it's not easy, especially if you've always lived with it. You may not know what makes you happy. You may not understand that um, the reason I'm feeling this way is actually because I am depressed. We refuse to acknowledge the fact that we're depressed, especially being black. We don't want to talk about being depressed because us talking about being depressed actually has forces us to face those facts. And that's something that we don't understand. We don't understand what depression is. So, um, yeah, that's what it means for me. Leave your comments. Let me know what you think. If you would like further dialogue with this, heck, hit me up. We can dialogue about it. All right, God bless.